How can you enhance the look of your spring home decor? Adding texture to glass jars can be a great way to showcase your space. Textured glass jars can add depth, interest, and dimension, and can help create a more sophisticated and high-end look. Hi, I'm Robin, and for my first DIY, I took a glass candy jar and I removed the label. Then I coated the entire surface with Elmer's glue. I wanted to make sure that the paint would adhere properly to the glass. This was necessary because I wanted to paint the jar and I needed the paint to stick to the glass without any issues. I decided to combine metallic silver and black deco art paints, using metallic silver as the main color. Using this color mixture, I painted the entire jar, including the inside, to make sure there were no visible unpainted spots. I also painted the lid to complete the look. Next, I mixed white paint with a small amount of bright yellow. Using an Easter placemat as a stencil, I placed it over the jar and carefully dabbed the mixed paint onto the stencil holes using the tip of my brush. Once the paint had started to dry, I lifted the stencil to take a peek at the design. I liked it, so I repeated this process all around the jar until I had completed the entire surface. I wasn't too crazy about the pattern at the top of the jar, so I decided to paint it over with the cream colored paint. Once I did that, I had this flower ribbon that I got at Dollarama, and I placed that around the top of the jar. I intended on using it as a stencil. I decided to go over the flower ribbon with Waverly Antiquing Wax. I love this wax and it makes DIYs look so rustic and vintage. After I completely covered the flower ribbon, I removed it, but I didn't like how it turned out. So again, I repainted the whole top cover with the cream paint. At first, I was going to try and do the stenciling technique with the flower ribbon again, so I attached it back on to the repainted jar. But I was really liking the look of the wax on the ribbon, so I decided to try and make some more of the metallic silver mixed with black paint again and cover most of the top of the jar with it. After repainting the jar, I decided that I wanted to apply paint on top of the flowers again. I found that the combination of paint and wax made the flowers look more defined, and I really liked it. As a result, I continued to paint the entire section to add more depth and dimension to the piece. I recently received these beautiful stone bead strands from Panda Hall Selected, using my coupon for 10% off my first order. I thought they would be a perfect match for my glass jar, so I attached them using hot glue. I purchased some zinc alloy charms from the Temu website, and I thought they would complement this piece perfectly. As a result, I decided to add them onto the jar. This DIY glass jar project has a sense of high-end sophistication that can help to elevate the overall ambience of any room. The use of metallic silver and black paints, combined with the creamy color and textured surface of the jar, creates a sense of depth and refinement that is both elegant and inviting. Adding the embellishments makes the piece look even fancier and attention-grabbing, making it a great decorative item that adds sophistication. For my next DIY project, I took a milk-shaped bottle that was painted white. After removing the labels and cleaning it thoroughly, I used a paint stick as a ruler to draw parallel lines up the bottle using hot glue. Once all the lines were drawn and the glue had dried, I painted the whole bottle in watered-down burnt umber paint. Burnt umber paint has a rustic feel to it, and it looked great on the bottle because the white of the bottle could be seen through it. This added an interesting and unique texture to the bottle. But I didn't think that it was dark enough, so I took some more burnt umber, but I didn't add water this time, and I painted over the whole thing. Here's how it looks so far, and I'm really loving it because it has a beautiful rustic look, almost resembling wood. I decided I wanted to add something to enhance the bottle's appearance. So I added some decorative elements. I used hot glue to attach ABS faux pearl roses and butterflies to the bottle in different areas. Then I applied Waverly antique wax to the roses to create a more distinct texture and blend them in with the bottle. The end result looked amazing, and I was really happy how it turned out. This DIY project is a wonderful example of how a simple glass jar or bottle can be transformed into a sophisticated and unique piece of decor with just a little bit of creativity and effort. Not only does this piece look great, but it's also a wonderful conversation starter that will get you compliments from your guests. Express your creativity while enhancing the ambience of your home. I'm participating in the Can't Sleep Creations open playlist hosted by Annie over at Indiana Jones, Monica at Up All Night DIY, and Dawn at Shabby Meets Bling. Make sure to check out their links and the playlist in the description box below. So if you find yourself tossing and turning in bed, consider getting up and doing some crafting instead. You may be surprised at how much you enjoy it and how much it helps you to relax and unwind. And who knows, you may even end up with a beautiful new piece of art or home decor to enjoy. So let's get back to crafting and see what I've dreamed up tonight. For my next DIY, I took a bee that I had previously made out of wood for another project, and I used it as a stencil to trace the outline onto a piece of paper. Then I cut it out with scissors. After cutting out the bee shape, I attached it to the glass jar using hot glue. Then I laid the jar on its side and applied a layer of PVA glue all over it. As the glue began to dry, I covered the jar with sand, making sure that it was evenly spread around. Once I had applied all of the sand, I shook the jar gently to remove any excess. Then I checked for any areas that needed a touch-up and applied a bit of glue and sand to cover them up. After the sand was fully in place, I took off the bee paper that I had initially attached to the jar, and it gave a little bee-shaped window to the jar. I decided I wanted to add something to the inside of the jar, and I had these tiny daisy flowers that I purchased from Dollarama and some string lights that I got from Dollar Tree, so I decided to put them inside. First, I placed some string lights and made sure that the lights worked, and I just stuck a few inside the opening of the jar. Then I took the flower stems and I placed them inside the jar, making sure to remove them from the picks of the flowers, because I just wanted the daisy part, not the other little green part or the leaves. Once I had placed most of the string lights and daisy flowers inside the jar, I had the idea of adding a small bee to the window. To do this, I attached one of the bee charms to a daisy using hot glue. Then I carefully positioned it inside the bee-shaped window of the jar so we could clearly see it from the outside. Once that was done, I added a few more daisies on top and the rest of the lights. And here's how it looks so far. I decided it needed a little something else, so I had this gold and white ribbon that I decided to put at the very top. And I just secured that with hot glue. This DIY is truly remarkable as it adds a touch of sophistication and elegance to your home decor, especially during springtime. The textured look of the sand combined with the soft glow of the string lights and the delicate beauty of the daisy flowers creates a warm and inviting atmosphere. The bee charm adds a unique and charming dimension to the overall look of the jar, making a great conversation starter for guests. Overall, this decor piece is a wonderful way to infuse your home with the beauty of nature and the freshness of spring. Enhance the look of your spring home decor by adding texture to glass jars. It can be a great way to enhance the overall look of your home decor. Textured glass jars can add depth and increase dimension to your space and help create a more sophisticated and high-end look. They can also give a focal point to a room and draw the eye, making them ideal for showcasing your personal style and taste. For more bee home decor ideas, click on the next video.